Let's jump right in. Today, we're doing something wild. We're setting the stage for an absolute game changer in how we look at the ancient world. Forget the movie magic and forget the Hollywood CGI. We're going to see how modern science is literally resurrecting prehistoric giants. It's this incredible mashup of paleontology, 3D scanning, and, get this, structural engineering. We're finally seeing exactly how these massive creatures lived, moved, and hunted. So, okay, here's the big question. How in the world do we make dinosaurs move again after they've been dead for, tens of millions of years? It's a staggering puzzle. Think about it. We're basically trying to figure out the dynamic, everyday behaviors of these extinct animals using nothing but incredibly heavy, static, and usually broken rocks, right? Like, when you pull a fossil out of the ground, it definitely doesn't come with a user manual. Now, for the longest time, we just had to fill in the blanks with our imagination. The stuff we see on the big screen, the roaring, the crazy acrobatics, that's mostly artistic license. But the rigorous, real-world science, that takes painstakingly digging up bones, prepping them in a lab, and hunting for microscopic clues. We really have to separate the pop culture fiction from the actual physics.
All right, Section 1, Giant Titanosaurs, Unearthing the Giants.
To really wrap our heads around the physics here, we need to travel to the late Cretaceous period in Patagonia. And to grasp the sheer, mind-boggling scale of the titanosaurs they found down there, just look at this number, 65. A Dreadnoughtus, which is one of the most complete titanosaurs we've ever found, could weigh up to 65 tons. To put that into perspective, that's like taking 13 modern African elephants and rolling them into one animal. And it gets even crazier. The Argentinosaurus might have tipped the scales at 80 tons. So when you're dealing with animals the size of a basketball court, just moving a single bone becomes a massive logistical nightmare. Actually, listen to this quote from paleontologist Matt Lamina. He was on the team that discovered Dreadnoughtus, and he said, "The bone is 6'3" long, so we knew we had a giant titanosaur." Just imagine that for a second. A single thigh bone, a femur, taller than most humans, weighing in at around 800 pounds. It totally captures the awe of the discovery, but also the immediate giant headache of trying to study something so impossibly huge. Which brings us right to what we'll call the 800 pounds problem. See, traditional paleontology hits a literal brick wall when dealing with these giants. You can't exactly pick up an 800-pound limb bone, hold it up against a 600-pound shoulder blade, and just grind the joints together to see how it worked. It's impossible. They're way too heavy to lift, and after millions of years buried in the earth, they are way too fragile to stress test like that.
Which leads us to Section 2, Digitizing Bones, the 3D Virtual Leap.
So, since we can't physically manhandle these bones, what do? We digitize them. This is the absolute game changer right here, a 4-step digital leap. Step 1, unearth the fossil. Step 2, 3D scan the bones with lasers to make flawless virtual replicas. Step 3, map the muscle scars. These are little imprints on the bone that tell us exactly where the muscles attached and how big they were. And finally, Step 4, run biomechanical simulations using machine learning. By bringing everything into a digital space, gravity and fragile rocks just cease to be an issue. The software basically runs through thousands of movement combos to find the most energy-efficient ones. It's literally teaching a digital dinosaur how to walk.
And the results? They are absolutely wild. For that 80-ton Argentinosaurus, the algorithms figured out it had a top speed of about 5 miles per hour. But here's the really cool part. To save energy and keep its own joints from just completely collapsing under that massive weight, it used a pacing gait. That means the front leg and back leg on the exact same side of its body moved at the exact same time. Plus, these digital models are totally shattering what we thought we knew about plant eaters. By mapping out these little palm-sized muscle scars on the tailbones of Dreadnoughtus, researchers found out it had a heavily muscled, weaponized tail. We're talking about a tail that could swing with such immense leverage it would easily maim or even kill a top predator. So yeah, these guys were definitely not just gentle, lumbering giants. They were heavily armed and highly dangerous. Moving on to Section 3, Ancient Predators, Marine Biomechanics. Now, researchers are taking this exact same digital toolkit and applying it to the terrifying apex predators of the late Cretaceous Western Interior Seaway. And to do this, they use something called finite element analysis, or FEA. This is such a brilliant example of how science overlaps today. FEA is actually a structural engineering method. It's normally used to test how a bridge or like an airplane wing handles stress. But now,
Paleontologists are using that exact same software to crush virtual dinosaur jaws. They can see exactly where the stress points pop up and how efficiently these marine monsters delivered a bite.
When they ran the numbers on these marine reptiles, a huge contrast popped up. On one hand, you got the mosasaurs. These things had insanely robust jaws with this tall bone structure that acted like a mechanical lever. Huge bite force, super high efficiency, almost zero stress failure. On the other hand, you have the polychetylid plesiosaurs. They had these long, thin, delicate snouts packed with needle-like teeth. The software proved the plesiosaur jaws absorbed way more energy and were much weaker under stress. So they were built perfectly for snapping up small, squishy prey, but if they tried to bite something hard, their jaws would fail.
And because of that terrifying mechanical efficiency, giant apex mosasaurs like Mosasaurus hoffmanni could eat pretty much whatever they wanted. Based on preserved stomach contents and these new bite simulations, we know they feasted on fish, sharks, heavily armored turtles. They even ate those weaker plesiosaurs we just talked about, and sometimes smaller mosasaurs. Their bone-crushing jaw structure meant they absolutely owned that ecosystem. But here is the real takeaway of this whole explainer, a concept called ecological niche partitioning. Before we had these simulations, it was a total mystery how so many giant, hungry predators could live in the exact same ocean without eating all the food and starving themselves out. Well, the biomechanics gave us the answer. They weren't actually competing. By evolving completely different jaw mechanics, the mosasaurs and plesiosaurs went after entirely different prey. It's how they managed to successfully share the same waters for millions of years.
Let's wrap up with Section 4, A New Age, Digital Paleontology.
By merging good old-fashioned fieldwork, literally digging in the dirt with a shovel, with high-tech 3D scanning and engineering software, we are completely rewriting the book on ancient ecosystems. We aren't just staring at a static rock trying to guess what it did anymore. There's this fantastic, enthusiastic thought from our source material that just perfectly nails it. We get to make dinosaurs move again for the first time in millions of years. Think about that. We are actively engineering the past, testing the physical limits of bones that haven't moved an inch in 70 million years. We are finally meeting these animals as the living, breathing, dynamic creatures they were. So, I want to leave you with this one final thought to chew on. If structural engineering software can reveal a marine reptile's exact bite force today, what extinct secrets are we going to simulate tomorrow? As machine learning and digital modeling keep getting better and better, the ancient past is only going to come into sharper, more thrilling focus. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. Keep your curiosity sharp, and I'll catch you next time.